All right, I'm good.
You know, before I get started, I wanted to say something about our singers. You know, the Lord tells us to do a good deed every day. So those three got it covered already. You guys are good for the day. But I also wanted to mention, I have a little story about them. They may have heard it, they may have not. But since I got here, I'm not a great singer. I'm not very proud of my own pipes. So I would kind of sit in the back and kind of mumble a little bit, not say much during the songs, kind of keep my voice down low. But I realized when they were able to get up in front of us and sing and not have a worry in the world, why did I? Why did I? So thanks for doing that, guys. I mean, that's something that's helped me actually get beyond, because when we start off singing and you're already nervous about your voice, it kind of starts right off to slow you down. So I don't know that you guys really knew that you had that kind of an effect, but keep doing what you're doing. And you're doing good things. And it's helping people change, and that's why we're here. And that's why we have faith, and that's why we follow. Today we're going to talk about the book of James. I'm going to finish up the last verse of it. And then we're going to do a quick review of the whole book. So this is quite a lofty task. If you guys have gone through your own book, and I've actually maybe this week reread James, you can kind of see that there's a lot of things packed in there that we're going to talk about. But of all those things, there'll be something in today's message that if I can do this right for you, God helps me through this. There'll be one thing, and if I can manage one thing that I say that touches you today, then we've had a fantastic day. And the Lord will help me do that. And that's really what today is about. Today, I want you guys to relax, absorb the message, but actually put it into your own heart, your own mind, and how the message today actually lives through you. And then I want you to do the hard part of it. Then I want you to ask yourselves, is this message living in you? Are you taking action? Or are you just hearing? Because some days we just hear, we walk in, we walk out. Other days we grab onto something and we go do something about it. And that's really what this, to me, this last phrase and last part of the scripture in James kind of reflects that. So if you click onto the first, no, that's fine, you can get it. You know what? Where's Gene? I want you to read this, but I wanted to read it in your way. Your soul, the way you read. I want you to read this because I think it will resonate well.
My dear brothers and sisters, if someone among you wanders away from the truth and it is brought back, you can be sure that whoever brings the sinner back will save that person from death and bring about the forgiveness of many sins.
Amen. Okay, so let's take a look at that a little bit. So, my dear brothers and sisters, if someone, who's someone? Who do you guys think someone is? Someone's us, right? We are the someones. And if you think about that, we're a room of someones. And within this room, someone is not going to be faithful. Someone is going to have a bad day. That's just probability. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen to all of us. This message is really written to everybody who reads it. And that someone is you. That someone is us. And the reason that someone's important, because when you're that someone that starts to wander, you got to have somebody to corral you back in.
Yes, amen.
Look around you.
Amen.
Look at the room that you're sitting in. This is your room of shepherds that are here with you this morning, along with God. That's the importance of a family of faith. You have your own families at home. That's the importance of allowing yourself to be around Christians. Because when you surround yourself with people with faith, they're always able to watch you. They're always able to shepherd you. And we're all going to stray. Every one of us is going to stray. Matter of fact, somebody's going to stray today. It's just going to happen. It's who we are. We're imperfect. That's just the type of people that we will always be. And we have to accept that. But that's the greatness about the Lord. The Lord accepts that, He accepts that in us. As a matter of fact, He even makes it merciful for us, where it's almost easy to stray. When you think about it, it almost gives you an avenue to stray. Although you don't want to do that, but you're going to do it. But there's also a mechanism to pull you back. And that's what's really important. So if somebody does wander away, they're wandering into sin, and that's okay, because we're not perfect. That's the whole point of this. So what, if you think about the message, and I think this is really what's important, it's what's James calling us to do. He's calling us to put our faith in action. Now you might say, oh, that's a pretty simple phrase, right? And I could ask each and every one of you in here, are you faithful? Do you have faith? And you'd probably give me the north-south head nod. Yeah, I got faith, I'm good, I'm happy. This, I follow the Bible, I read, I come to church. That's all good stuff. And that is technically faith. But it's the action within the faith that brings it all together. That's what we're here to do. We're here to take faith and combine it with action. That's when you become truly faithful. That's what James is really after us to do. And if you think about what he wrote, okay, a servant of God, a half-brother of Jesus, writes to the 12 tribes. He says, my brothers and sisters, these are the things that you need to know. It's kind of interesting that he wrote a manual for us. I was talking to James this morning, just outside, and it's the weirdest thing for me. I have these epiphanies in the weirdest places and all these things. So I'm sitting out in the parking lot. I got here 20 minutes early because I'm this anal crazy guy like I am, and I got my papers in the car and I'm reading. I'm trying to prepare for this because I'm like, oh my God, I can't screw this up, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, you know, I read James, the book of James twice this week, and did my notes, and studied, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm good. And it wasn't until this morning, sitting in a truck in a parking lot, that I realized the Bible is a book we never start and never finish. You know, and it's kind of an interesting thing. And it's been that way for thousands of years, for millions of people. It's a book we never start and never finish. And James is writing to us and saying, hey, we know this is a book you're not going to finish, and you're always going to change. You're going to read it differently every time you're going to read it because your life's going to change. That's what happens. That's what we do. We live life. Life presents us with problems, and we'll get into trials and all these things that we'll go ahead and review, but that's what it brings to us. You know, and that's the importance of the Bible. As you read the Bible, it's for that day. It's for that situation. It's very different than a lot of people pick up a book and they read a book and they read a story. Well, this is a story about life. This is a story about someone's. Someone's in this room. It's a manual to allow us to live a faithful life. You know, God's words must be something we do. And it's easy to read about things, and it's easy to walk into church and have a donut, have a coffee, shake a few hands, see your church family, and leave. And do nothing about it. Sometimes the message comes in and it doesn't even leave the door. It doesn't leave the door. It really doesn't. And that's what I'm asking you guys today, to pick something up out of this message that you can actually leave this door with, and this week do something about it. Change something. Have some kind of action. That's what James is calling us to do, is have an action. It's hard. It's hard to have action. It really is. Because you know what? It's going to make you uncomfortable. If you go to help somebody, guess what? You might have to take on some of their burden. Oh, it's easy to help somebody as long as it doesn't provide you a burden, right? If you can do it easily, that's not what I'm talking about. That's not what James is talking about. He's talking about real action in real time, on a real day. You pick the day. You pick the time. You pick the situation. That's what he's talking about, right? All right. I hope that kind of gave you a little bit of the message of Hey, James is out there and he ends his letter with, if someone among you strays, bring them back. Bring them back, right?
Yeah.
So you have the family here to bring them back. You have God who's always on your side, which allows you to bring them back. But you know, if you think about the book of James, if you go through it, which we're going to start right now, and go through it quickly, you'll find that in order to do what he's asking you to do, and I find it very intuitive that when he put at the end, the last verse, someone will stray among you, bring them back in, and save their lives. Very intuitive that he gave us the manual on all the things that you would probably have to deal with in order to do that, right?
Yes.
Because bringing somebody back into the fold that leaves is never easy.
Amen.
And it's not easy because think about the place they're in. And you guys may have found yourself in that place. If you haven't, you will. I guarantee you that. You will. And if you're lucky, you're going to have a family of faith that surrounds you to help you do that. That's what it takes. But in order to get there, and to be able to go to help somebody and truly help them and accept them for what's going on in their life and not judge it based upon what's going on in yours,
Amen.
it's very hard.
Yes,
It will
yes,
challenge you.
Yes, yes.
It will challenge you in ways that you can't even imagine sitting in this room. Because it has to. In order to make you stronger in your own faith, you have to be challenged.
Yes.
You have to count on the Lord's wisdom, and you have to ask for it. You have to ask. That's a tough thing. It's tough for me. I don't know about you guys, but I've spent many, many years not asking for help. Not asking for help. Because in my line of profession, that's just generally not done. Okay? So you have to be bigger than yourself.
Yes.
James is asking all of us to be bigger than who you are. If you read through the book of James, you see a lot of this little word called growth. Right. You have to be bigger than yourself. Well, what does that take? It takes true growth.
Yes, yes, yes.
You really have to grow within this. So somebody give me an example of maybe how you've grown. How this kind of plays into your life before we get started on the review. Does anybody have any examples? I know it's tough.
I have one.
Okay.
So just, gosh, probably, I think it was even this week. I mean, it seems like my weeks just kind of merge into each other after a while. But I was sitting there, and I was sitting at a stoplight, and there's this person with a sign that says, you know, God bless you. I mean, basically he's looking for a handout. And I'm just like, God, I'm so tired of these people using your name, you know, like, God bless you, and asking for money. And I'm like, God, just please work on my heart. And almost instantly, I felt so, I had like empathy and sympathy, just like instantly, for this person. And thinking, how embarrassing, how awful that I would be if I had to be in their situation, asking for people for money, sitting there at a stoplight. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So I opened up my wallet. I didn't have much in it, but I gave them everything I had in my wallet, you know. And then later, so I'm just like, I'm starting to give people money. And then today, I was at Rayleigh's before I came here, and this person comes up and asks for 75 cents, and so I gave him more than 75 cents. But and then I'm buckling the little man in the car seat, and I'm like, God, I need to pray with these people. I need to be so bold that I give him money, but I give him more. I give him prayer at the same time. And I looked for him in the parking lot, and I couldn't see him. He was gone. Got his money, he was gone. But God's working on me, because before I would judge them, it's like, oh, you know, go get a job, go take a bath, you know, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, that's just, I'm just being honest here, because that's just kind of, and I think a lot of us are like that. And God took that from me. He took that from me. and now gives me the heart and the desire to help them. Yes, give them money. Who knows what they're going to do with their money? But that's not my choice. My choice is to share with what God has blessed me with, and what my husband has blessed me with. But also to look for opportunities, and that's been one of my prayers this week, is God, give me opportunities to pray with, and not just for people, because it's easy to sit in our car and pray for people as we're driving along, but it's harder, and it takes more boldness and more courage to get out there and say, hey, can I pray with you? And literally I'm like, oh, but their hands are dirty. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I need to step out, be bold, grab their dirty hands, and just love on them no matter what.
We could touch
And
the
so,
lepers, yeah, like
God
Jesus
has just
did.
taken all of that judgment, all of that condemning away from me, and has now placed this passion in my heart of wanting to help them and pray for them. And
That's because you're over at church. Here we are. You got a passion for us.
Well, it's a lot of, it's a lot of
That's
wisdom
good.
when you think about
Thank you,
what
Jesus.
Talisa just said. There's a lot of different messages in there. I mean, you could equate it to orphans and widows, right? Same thing. You could equate it to judgment. You could equate it to rich and poor. So with one very quick vignette of a story, you can see how effective, once we get through the whole book of James, all these little things that play into our life every day. What I would ask you is, do you recognize it? You know, the book of James, it talks about praying for others, with others, and having those pray upon you. All these things in one story. I mean, you want to talk about an effective manual. Think about it. The insight and wisdom that James was able to pull together to write one letter to 12 tribes that were spread out all over the place, in all different situations, mostly being deprived. Pretty amazing. And what's even more so amazing, that if you actually take the time to read it, it's effective today, and it will be effective tomorrow.
That's true, amen.
Something you don't start, you don't finish. Just keep revisiting. So let's revisit the book of James. Now this is where it's going to change. I've been doing a lot of talking. So now we're going to kind of go back and forth in order to make this work. Because I think there's somebody in this room that each one of the 13 things that I'm going to go over quickly will mean something. It's already happened, or is happening. That's the importance of the message. It's happening. It's action. Okay? All right, so let's go with the first one up there. Faith and wisdom. Those who believe that God is with you always. So, if you look at it from that point, how has God being with you changed your life? Because life is full of trouble. Life is full of trials. Every day, something's happening within your life or to someone you love that's going to change your life. Hopefully in a positive way, but quite often in a negative way. So if that's the case, how does faith help you make it through that? Somebody. Maureen.
For myself, it's sometimes life is not normal for me, like you would think most people have a family unit.
Mhm.
I'm single, I live alone, my children are far away, and every day I remind myself that Jesus will never forsake me or leave me. And I live by those rules, to know He surrounds me with His love, and when something goes, I'm driving in my car and I got a near miss of some kind, and the first thing I'm like, oh God, thank you for surrounding me. God, thank you for that perimeter and if something does go wrong, I don't see that as God not being with me. I say, God, what was I supposed to learn? What am I missing
Exactly.
here? I know He's always with me, and it gives me the confidence to go through life and feel strong and feel full, complete, whole.
And that's what it's about, right? It's for you to feel whole, for you to be complete, in order to do the Lord's work. You kind of have to have that. And it also allows you wisdom.
I have another just basic one. So I work at Renown and I do a lot of presentations with a lot of like the executive leadership at Renown. And, you know, you always have a different audience, and even no matter how much you can prepare, I sit in my car too, and I like have my notes. It's like, but I always just have to like stop and pray. God, speak through me. You know, I don't even know how I'm in this position anyways, like without you, you've gotten me here, that I know you're gonna just take care of me and I'm gonna be able to articulate my words and be able to, you know, do what I need to do in that moment, and it's just those little things too,
You know,
relying on Him, talking with Him about everything.
it's kind of interesting, because you could kind of, if you could package this would be like the worry buster, right?
Yes.
If you could take faith and wisdom, put it together and put it on a shelf, you'd have the worry buster.
Yes.
Because what takes us down? It's worry. We worry about everything. We worry about yesterday. We worry about tomorrow. We don't live today. Faith and wisdom. Have faith. God will give you the wisdom. But you got to believe. You got to accept. It's a very, very interesting lesson for most of us, I think. It is for me. You know, it's hard for a person to accept that you don't have the right answer, right? Because you're kind of raised and trained to provide the right answer, but you don't always have it. And sometimes you need somebody bigger than you, better than you, to help you with that answer. Faith and wisdom. It's a good lesson. About poverty and wisdom. God can give and God can take away. So I ask all of you in this room, myself included, another big lesson for me. We spend a lot of our lives trying to stay out of poverty, in a lot of cases trying to stay away from those in poverty. We really do. We really do, because we don't see things from a social and economical sense. Either. We don't. We tend to stick around a group that's like us, where we're comfortable. It's what we do. We're human animals. It's what we do. You know, that is our path. But once again, God is asking us to be bigger than our path. And that's hard, and that's James' message. You know, if you have to look at everything around you and ask yourself, am I stopping that relationship? Am I not allowing that to happen because something that's within me, something that says, hey, they don't dress like me, they don't live in my neighborhood, they don't this, that, or whatever it is you want it to be. Remember, James is really talking about action, and action leads to growth. Growth leads to faith. In order for us to expand and truly do what God is asking us to do, we have to be able to see beyond ourselves. So I can keep reflecting back to that someone. Who's that someone? Someone's us. We have to look within ourselves. That's a hard, hard thing to do. It's a good manual. It's a good lesson. Follow it. It'll help. Adjustment. What about this one? This is one of my all-time favorites. I'm guessing probably everybody in this room has a little bit of trial and temptation and all these things mixed up against you. And when I was writing this out, one of the things that came to me was Johnny's saying of every trial is a love test. You know, and that's really what it is a love test. And when you think about what a trial means and what's within that trial for you, that's often the most missed lesson, right? You know, we spend a lot of time on this particular topic in here, just talking about the trials. So somebody give me a trial that's tested you to the limit. Anybody?
I have a trial that is going on in my life now. I did a DNA test, 2 of them as a matter of fact, and found out the man I thought was my father is not my father. I am now trying to search to find out who he is. And during the DNA test, there are 4 other people who I am extremely close to in the DNA who were also adopted. Have no idea who we are all related to.
I can tell you who you're related to.
And we have formed a wonderful bond together and doing our research to find out who is part of our family. And it has been a trial, but it has also been a formation of a new family. It's wonderful.
It's growth.
Yes.
It's growth.
Yes.
And when James talked about trials, it was really about persevering. Persevering through that trial. Everybody wants to finish it and get it done and over with, right? If something sucks, it sucks, and you want it out of your life.
Yes.
That's just how it is. And that's how all of us are.
Yes.
And we put so much energy to removing the suck. And in the military, we call it embracing the suck. So if you can learn to persevere, slow yourself down, and dissect that challenge, that trial, and actually figure out what it is you're supposed to learn, right? There's lessons in everything. You know, one of the lessons I'm learning about life is I've got to stop thinking about yesterday. Stop worrying about tomorrow and start living today.
Amen.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I do this all the time. And I got to stop. Because it's not allowing me to live my life. And life is short.
Yes.
And it's a lot of these lessons that I think are really here to help each individual cope with some of the situations they're dealing with within themselves in order to allow us to help deal with situations that are within someone else. Once again, it's about growth, and it's about action, and it's about a room full of someone. It's kind of where we're going, right? All right. Next. I got to move along here a little bit. Hearing and doing the world. Quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. Well, that's kind of a common sense thing when you think about it, but it's not easy to put into practice. I don't know about you guys, but that is a problem, I think, for all of us. You know, we're auto-loaded to attack. It's just how we are. And how many of you can sit in a room and hear somebody talk and know that they're going to ask you a question and not sit there and think while they're talking about the answer? You got to have that answer because you want to strike. You want to throw out the perfect answer at the perfect time. But it closes you off to everything else. It's what we do. It's how we're wired. What James is asking us to do is maybe switch a few of those wires around. Let's rewire this area. Let's rewire ourselves. And figure out, is there a different way to wire that would work better for us and work better for him?
Yes.
It's quite possible.
Amen.
But if you never get to the point to where you can try, if you never get to that growth, if you never seek that wisdom, if you never go through issues, you can't get there. And that's really what James is, I think, trying to present to us in a message of, hey, life isn't easy. It wasn't meant to be easy. God didn't say, I'm going to give you everything you want. So what he says, I'm going to give you what you need. But be considerate what you ask for. Because a lot of times we ask for stuff. It's way beyond our needs because that's who we are, what we want. warning against partiality. We do it every day, every minute, everywhere we go. Somebody give me an example. Elisa gave us one already.
Yeah,
this
and I have
morning.
another one too that I think.
Well, I'm taking notes. Somebody needs some help here. Somebody needs some help.
So, back in my older days, I managed several family resource centers, and we case managed families. It was child abuse prevention work. And I did that for 15 years. And so one of my big training components with my staff is don't judge these people who are sitting across from a table from you. Because at any moment, you can be that person. You could lose your job, your house could burn down, you could be in a car accident and get disabled. Somebody could turn you in on a false child abuse prevention, child abuse report. You can easily be on the other side of that table. Don't judge them. Treat them with kindness, respect, professionalism, and just think in the back of your mind, at any time I could be sitting on the other side of that table. And it really kind of opened their eyes, because when you get in that work, it is so easy to judge and condemn. And that's one of the biggest training components that you have to have in that line of work, is that compassion.
Can I say one thing too? When somebody's telling you something, don't try to tell them how to do it, what to do. Just listen.
Right.
It all kind of winds itself back into the royal law, right? Love each other. Love the way you want to be loved. It's hard to do. It's really, really challenging. It really is. All right. Faith and works. Transforms conducts and thoughts. This is really what it's about. James, when he calls us to action, it's really taking that faith, combining it with that action. And that's when it starts to really come together. It's easy, as I mentioned before, it's easy to read a book. It's easy to say, I believe. It's easy to come to church. It's all easy stuff. It's when you actually try to put it into action is when it becomes difficult. That's when you will be tested. You will be tested.
Taking
Every
your
day.
Sundays into Mondays, as they call it.
That's right. That's right. Okay. The tongue, another favorite of everybody's, I think. We talked about this slightly earlier. It's easy to blow up. But the tongue's kind of a funny thing. It can do so much good, and it can do so much harm. So the question to ask yourself is, when you're in a situation, do you build somebody up or do you tear them down? And we all do it. We all do it at different times, and we all do it for different reasons. We'd all like to believe that we don't, that we're not that person, but we are. We are that person. And James is allowing us to understand that, you know what, you will say the wrong thing. You will say the right thing. But when you do say the wrong thing, what do you do about it? What do you do? Do you go back? Do you apologize? Or you just try to forget it? I never said it. Do you worry about it? All those types of things. They all come back together. They're all tough lessons in life. But if you can't conquer this, how are you going to bring somebody back? How are you going to bring yourself back? You can't conquer those things. Next. Wisdom from above, action goals. Loving words are the action of peace. Remember, a peaceful world is a good world. A peaceful relationship is a good relationship. It's what we're going for. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen. It doesn't mean that it's going to be natural. It might mean that you have to work at it. It might mean that you might need somebody else's help to get through it. It might mean that you need to call upon a little wisdom from somebody else. And guess what? You might not have the answers. You probably don't. And you weren't meant to. there's somebody who does. You have to allow that perseverance. You have to allow that acceptance to flow into you. And if you do, you might be surprised at what happens. You might be very surprised. Friendship with the world. Evil desires battling within us. Think God makes us do the things we do? The bad things we do? Probably not. Probably not. It's probably a little demonic stuff going on inside you. We all have it, I think. You know, we all kind of see things differently. We all have desires. We all want what we don't have. A lot of us spend a lot of time in our lives trying to get what we don't have. And we focus towards it. We put all our energy in there, and we work real hard, and we get it, and then we can't figure out what to do with it or why we want it. And a year later, we're like, this is just a pain. Why did I do this? And we all do it. We all do it. Flip on the TV. Go anywhere. That's the type of world we live in. You know, watch TV. Watch TV sometime when you have time to think. And you can just look at the TV, and don't look at the show. Look at what's behind it. Look at what's behind it. To get you to consume. What are they asking you to consume? Everything you don't need. It's kind of an interesting place we found ourselves, right? And you're surrounded by it. You can't drive down the road with somebody telling you what you need. It's all over the signs. It's on your radio. You go into your house, it's on your TV. It's in a magazine you pick up. It's in the newspaper. It's on your cell phone, your smart device. You can't get away from it anymore. You're being inundated by it. That's not what you need to consume.
That's right.
What you need to consume is in a pretty short letter. It was written to 12 tribes 1,000 years ago. That's what you need.
Yes.
That's what will set you, give you a baseline, guidance to move forward. Judging a brother. Lisa talked about it. We judge by what we see. Most of the time, that's the first reaction, because that's how we've been trained. All of us. We judge by what we see. We judge by what we learn. We judge by what we experience. It's all good stuff. But you got to watch how you use it, because it's very easy to go astray, to go wrong. We all do it. I do it all the time, and I do it, and I've already done it, and I'm like, why'd you do it? It's terrible. But that's what we do. It happens so fast. It's natural. Excellent. Warning against boasting. Who in here is a boaster? Okay, we got a couple of us, right? Yeah. We want people to be proud of us. And most of us, when we boast, we don't boast because we're out there saying, hey, I want to be better than everybody else. We're looking for some kind of acceptance from other people, usually. We want to be part of it. We want to be noticed. You know, and that's usually because somewhere we're lacking something else.
Amen.
It really is. I mean, I can say it about myself. I mean, I think that's kind of what's happening. You're not balanced. So you're kind of looking for other things that you think will help balance you out. You know, we have to be careful of how we do this. You know, when you start boasting, you start to push people away. You start to push people out of your circle because you become unapproachable and untouchable. And that's not what you want. You can't help to bring somebody back if your ways push people away. And we all have that tendency to kind of do that. Warning to the rich. This is a really good one. Because I think most of us, whether we want to admit it or not, at some part in our lives or some time in our lives, we're always chasing riches. We're chasing money. God doesn't value riches. We do. We'll do a lot for it. Riches will bring about a lot of evil. Anybody got a quick story on how you've seen it bring about evil?
I've seen people, and growing up in church, you see people pray for blessing, for increase. But then they get so blessed, then you don't see them in church. They're too busy or they're enjoying.
Yeah. There's a reason why they say money's the root of all evil.
The love of money.
You know, the love of money, yeah, is
Look at the Kardashians.
yeah. When you start to love money, money itself isn't bad. Working hard isn't bad. God never said that. Church needs money. We need money. Orphanages need money. In order to help people, you need money in this world. Money isn't a bad thing. When you fall in love with money, and money starts to overtake your thinking, it's a bad thing. Evil's coming, and it's coming your way, and you're not going to stop it. And if you combine that with this consumptionist world that we're inundated by, you can see how easy it is for people to fall into that trap, right? Keeping up with the Joneses. I mean, we live in neighborhoods. If you don't think you're being measured up or sized up, and if you don't think you're measuring up or sizing up to somebody else, you're fooling yourself. We all do it. It's not the end of the world. It's not a bad thing. You just have to watch what it means when we're doing it. We have to recognize for ourselves that's what we're doing. It's tough. A lot of tough lessons in here. You know, you can almost walk out of this with your head held down and be like, oh my God, I'm not. But you are. You are. And the fact that you're here and the fact that you're listening kind of shows that you are addressing James's wisdom and words in the right way. And then the last one, patience and prayer. Johnny talked about this. We always pray later. We all do it. I can remember as a kid, you know, praying for winning baseball games and football games and all this stuff. And if it didn't happen, I'd be like, you know. And then now, it seems that after something bad happens, that's when we pray. You know, it's just kind of how we are, and it's all a lesson for all of us to teach ourselves. Slow down. Pray first. You know, we make this world fast. It doesn't have to be as fast as we make it. We make it that way ourselves. This is a message. Slow it down. Take the time. It's just a millisecond. Take the time to say, hey, what would you do?
Would you tell my boss that?
You should tell your boss that, but in the right way. because it's important. It's important.
I think so too.
And not everybody's going to be following this, honestly, folks. I mean, if they were, there'd be 1,000 people here, and it would be a completely different ballgame. So, you know, understand that, you know, this is kind of privileged in a way. Not because we're special, it's because you have accepted. You've accepted the responsibility to look into yourself. That's what this is about. It's about action. It's about looking into yourself. And with that, that's the message for today. I hope you guys got something out of it, and I hope you were able to hope you'll be able to take something out of this, and I hope you'll think about it this week and look at your world and your life and see how the book of James actually affects you. And with that, has God been working in anybody, through anybody this week? Any good stories to end this up?
I would like to share that last one about praying first. I have really been working on that lately. Acknowledging Him, and it says, and He'll direct your path. So that's really been my goal, and what a difference it makes. But I do catch myself running ahead, like, whoa, wait, stop it.
So remember, you know, I'm reading a book right now, and it's why it's really heavy in my mind, is that we're all either ahead or behind, and we're never living today. We're worried about something that's past yesterday. It's over. Move on. Learn your lesson and move on. Let it go. Don't worry about tomorrow, because God's the only one who understands what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't. I don't care how smart you are. You're not going to get it right all the time. You will. You will.
I just finished a class at UNR, mindfulness class, and it's all about living in the moment, living for today. Don't worry about yesterday. Don't worry about the future. Just worry and not even worry, but be mindful of what you're doing today and what you're doing with other people in your life today. And I just finished it last week.
You know what, folks? Today is the only day you have.
Yes.
You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Today is your day. Make today your day. Make your day about action. Do something good. Do something good for yourselves. Do something good for those around you. Take that action. Make it your day, whatever it is. And with that, let's do a little communion because I'm running a few minutes behind and I'm gonna get crushed. But thanks everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.